Fever. We saved you a seat. 4 chances to be in the building for it all. What you mean we saved you a seat? Do y'all remember them running campaigns like this last year? No. Do y'all remember them running campaigns like this during Caitlin Clark's rookie season? No, you didn't have to do that because the tickets were jumping off of the shelves.
We saved you a seat. 4 words that should never appear on an Indiana Fever marketing graphic. Not in 2025. Not with Caitlin Clark on the roster. And yet here we are, watching the most in-demand franchise in women's basketball history beg fans to show up. Something has gone very wrong in Indianapolis, and the receipts are starting to pile up.
Okay, game night specials. They're talking about $24 t-shirts cut down from $40 to $24. Look at that. Look at that, all-in-one women's sports t-shirt. You get limited halftime merch for $10. You get a food spotlight. They're giving out a full-court porkster, a sandwich down here, a foot-long tenderloin sandwich in section 17.
$24 t-shirts, slashed from $40. $10 halftime merch. Foot-long tenderloin sandwiches in section 17. Post-game pizza giveaways in the plaza. This is the promotional playbook of a struggling franchise, not the defending box office champions of the WNBA. Last season, the Fever sold out every single home game. This season, they're handing out pork sandwiches to fill seats. The Stephanie White era is 1 game in, and the discounts are already flying.
The Indiana Fever have not had to do this since Caitlin Clark's arrival, and all of a sudden, they're having to give away tenderloin sandwiches, t-shirts, flags, post-game pizzas in the plaza. This is nutty. This is absolutely nutty, okay? Make no mistake about it.
And the secondary market is screaming the same message. Tickets falling to $18. $18. For context, last year you couldn't find resale Fever tickets under triple digits in most markets. Caitlin Clark's rookie season pushed average WNBA attendance up 48% league-wide. The Fever themselves drew over 340,000 fans in 2024, shattering records. So when prices collapse this fast, this early, it's not a market correction, it's a confidence vote, and the fans are voting no.
This game, Stephanie White is under fire today, y'all. Stephanie White is in heat, believe it or not, and I'm gonna show it to you because the Indiana Fever owners are having to do things they have not had to do since prior to Caitlin Clark's arrival. Stephanie White, you're on thin ice. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated as always.
Here's the part the front office doesn't want to discuss publicly. The fans aren't just unhappy with the product on the floor. They feel burned. They bought tickets last summer expecting to see Caitlin Clark and instead watched her sit through a quad injury, then a groin injury, then the season-ending injury that ended her playoff run. The team's communication around those injuries was, to put it generously, inconsistent. Fans drove from Tennessee, from Michigan, from Ohio, only to see her in street clothes. That trust doesn't get rebuilt with a foot-long sandwich.
Keys, man. The number one thing, Stephanie White, get out of Caitlin Clark's way and allow her to do what she do. That's the long court passes. That's the behind the back passes. That's the pick and roll. That's the logo 3, okay? We need to get this thing back on track, and we need all facets of Caitlin Clark unleashed and unlocked, and that is not gonna happen unless head coach Stephanie White gets the hell out of the way. That's gonna be the first thing. The second thing is we need an aggressive Caitlin.
And now the basketball side is making it worse. Stephanie White was brought in as the experienced veteran voice, the hire that was supposed to elevate Clark's game and unlock the offense. Instead, through the opening stretch of this season, we've watched Clark's three-point rhythm disappear, her assist opportunities shrink, and her usage rate trend in the wrong direction. The behind-the-back passes, the logo threes, the full-court outlets that made her a global phenomenon, all of it is getting filtered through a system that doesn't seem built for her. The Washington Mystics are a real test of that. Sonia Citron is averaging 21.5 points through 2 games. Kiki Iriafen is putting up 16 and 14. Lauren Betts, the 6'7" center out of UCLA, is coming off the bench. This is a young, hungry, oversized roster, and they only lost their opener to the Liberty by 5.
Sonia Citron can't guard her, and then Washington Mystics, they have some really little guards. They have really small guards. Georgia Moore is tiny. Rory Harmon from the University of Texas, she's a good defender. She's tiny. They have some really little 5'6", 5'7" guards. Caitlin Clark should be able to have her way with these point guards. So that is something that I'm looking to see. Caitlin Clark being aggressive inside and outside of
the matchup. Math actually favors Clark if the Fever let her play her game. Washington's backcourt is undersized. Georgia Amoore, Shug Sutton, Rory Harmon out of Texas, all listed at 5'7" or smaller. Clark is 6 feet tall with a release no guard in this league can contest cleanly. She should be hunting those switches all night. Whether Stephanie White actually designs an offense to exploit that, or runs more of the stagnant half-court sets we saw in the opener, is the entire ballgame.
The tempo, I think we need to play fast pace in order to run those bigs out of the gym. And I also think that also brings another advantage to Caitlin Clark. Yes, this team has size, but they're going to be a little bit slower because they're going to run double bigs a lot out there. And you should be able to get up and down and beat these bigs in transition. Okay, the number 4 thing is Aaliyah Boston has to look like $6 million. This is the game where you got to show up.
Aaliyah Boston is the other half of this equation, and she's walking into an ambush. Washington is going to run a true double big lineup. Erie Affin, Shakira Austin, and Betts rotating through. That's a front court that averages over 6'5" with real interior length. Boston has been the Rookie of the Year, an all-star, and a max extension priority for this franchise. Tonight she has to play like all three. The Fever cannot afford the cheap fouls 40 feet from the rim. They cannot afford Boston getting in early foul trouble and sitting on the bench while Washington's bigs feast on the offensive glass. Indiana is already the smaller team. Foul trouble turns smaller into helpless.
Key to this is defensively, okay? We can't be taking the ball out of the net and being forced to play in a half-court game versus this team, because that is where their size can have a real impact. So defensively, we got to get stops, clear rebounds, and push the tempo. I think, the ball pressure needs to be there. Like I said, somebody's going to have to take the challenge of Sonia Citron, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham. That'll probably be your matchup. And you're going to have to find a way to slow her down. Like I said, she's averaging 21.5 points through the first 2 games. She's playing really.
So let's bring this all the way home, because the story tonight is bigger than one game against the Mystics. The Indiana Fever are running a Friday night discount campaign that would have been unthinkable 12 months ago. That's not a marketing decision. That's a panic decision. Front offices don't slash t-shirt prices, hand out free pizza, and run "we saved you a seat" graphics when business is healthy. They do it when the trend lines are screaming. And the trend lines are screaming. Resale prices collapsing into the teens. Season ticket renewals reportedly softer than projected. National broadcast ratings down from last year's Clark-driven peaks. The Fever were the engine of the WNBA's commercial explosion in 2024. They drove arena upgrades around the league, charter flight conversations, expansion timelines, the new media rights deal. Indiana wasn't just a team. Indiana was the proof of concept. When that proof of concept starts wobbling, every other team in the league feels it. The Valkyries, the Mystics, the Storm, the Fire, they all built their pricing models on the assumption that a Clark visit would print money. If Fever home games are now bargain bins, what does that say about the road games, where she's still the headliner? This is where Stephanie White's seat gets uncomfortable. Coaches don't usually get blamed for ticket prices. But Stephanie White isn't in a usual situation. She inherited the single most marketable player in the history of the league, a young core with a Rookie of the Year, a top-tier shooting guard in Kelsey Mitchell, and ownership willing to spend. The expectation was not just wins. The expectation was a show. Clark Unleashed. The full Caitlin Clark experience that turned a 70-year-old in Iowa into a season ticket holder. Instead, we're getting a watered-down version. Fewer transition possessions, fewer logo pull-ups, fewer of the highlight passes that made every Fever game appointment viewing. And the fans, the casual fans who built this audience from the ground up, they can tell. They don't need analytics. They can see when a player is being asked to play a game that isn't hers. So here's the question that's going to define this season. If the Fever lose tonight to a Mystics team that's young and rebuilding, if Clark goes 1 for 8 from 3 again, if Boston gets bullied in the paint, how long does ownership wait? Because the discounts are already here. The "we saved you a seat" graphic is already out. The $18 tickets are already on the resale market. There is no slower phase to this. The next phase is real consequences. Stephanie White was hired to win a championship with the best young player in basketball. Right now she's coaching for her job, and she might not even know it yet. Drop a comment and tell me where you stand. Is Stephanie White the problem, or is the front office scapegoating a coach for issues that go deeper than the bench? Pick a side, be specific. And if you want more honest WNBA breakdowns that aren't afraid to call out the business side of this league, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. We're just getting started.